De La Soul dropped Me, Myself, and I in 1989, and radio programmers thought it was too weird for airplay. Then it hit #1 on the rap charts and changed hip-hop forever. Real talk from the archives. We got Native Tongue's Revolutionaries, Pete Rock's most emotional masterpiece, and the track that made Lou Reed agree to a sample. This is Hip Hop Legends Archives, where we keep the culture alive. Verified with Billboard, the source archives, and original production credits. Now check it, some of these classics technically dropped in the early 90s, but they're directly connected to that late 80s jazz rap and conscious hip-hop explosion. These tracks took hip-hop from the streets to the university, from the block to the jazz club. They proved MCs could be poets and DJs could be composers. Let's break it down from the beginning. Number 10, De La Soul, Me, Myself, and I, 1989. Before anyone knew what the Native Tongues were, before the Daisy Age became a movement, Paz Dunos, Trugoy the Dove, and Maceo walked into Calliope Studios with Prince Paul and flipped hip-hop upside down. The golden era was all about gold chains and Gucci. These cats showed up in peace signs and polka dots. Me, Myself, and I sampled Funkadelic's Not Just Knee Deep and reportedly hit #1 on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles chart, staying there for 3 consecutive weeks. Radio DJs didn't know what to do with it. The production was revolutionary. Prince Paul used the EMU SP1200 sampler to layer approximately 7 different funk samples, creating this psychedelic soundscape that felt like a cartoon come to life. But the message was deeper than the colors. They were rejecting materialism, challenging hip-hop's obsession with status symbols. The chorus became an anthem for individualism. Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me, mirror, what is wrong. This wasn't bragging about what you owned, this was questioning who you were. The track reportedly sold over 500,000 copies, earning a gold certification from the RIAA. Fun fact, the plug ton and intro became so iconic that producers still reference it today. Tommy Boy Records initially wanted them to sound more like Run DMC, but De La Soul said, nah, we're doing this our way. That independence created space for every alternative hip-hop artist who followed the roots, Outkast. Even Kanye West cited this as inspiration. Number 9. Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth, They Reminisce Over You T.R.O.Y. 1992. This is the track that made grown men cry in the club. Pete Rock lost his friend Trouble T.R.O.Y from Heavy D and the Boys in a tragic accident, and instead of making a sad song, he created the most beautiful tribute in hip-hop history. Reportedly peaked at number 58 on the Billboard Hot 100, but its cultural impact was immeasurable. Recorded at the Hit Factory in New York, Pete Rock sampled Tom Scott and the LA Express's Today and transformed it into something transcendent. The horn section, originally a smooth jazz instrumental, became a eulogy. C.L. Smooth's verses weren't just rhymes, they were poetry. Here's what made it legendary. Pete Rock didn't use the obvious part of Today. Most producers would have grabbed the main melody, but Pete found this obscure 4-bar section, looped it, and added his signature horn stabs using the EMU SP1200. The result sounded like memory itself, warm, nostalgic, bittersweet. The track became the blueprint for every tribute song that followed. When Notorious B.I.G. died, when Tupac passed, when any artist memorialized a fallen friend, they were following T.R.O.Y's template. The music video showed black and white footage of Trouble T.R.O.Y, Pete Rock, and C.L. Smooth performing, and the hip-hop community mourning together. Jay-Z later called this the greatest hip-hop song ever made. Nas said it inspired The World Is Yours. Even Kanye West sampled the drums for Lucifer. This wasn't just a hit, it was a masterclass in turning pain into art. Number 8. Stetsasonic, Talking All That Jazz, 1988. Before anyone was defending hip-hop as art, before the jazz rap movement existed, Daddy-O and Delight from Stetsasonic were fighting critics who said sampling wasn't real music. Jazz purists called hip-hop theft, rock critics called it noise. Stetsasonic said, hold up, we are musicians. Produced by Daddy-O with live instrumentation mixed with samples from Lonnie Liston Smith's Expansions, this track reportedly peaked around number 76 on the Billboard Hot R&B/hip-hop chart. But here's what made it revolutionary. They brought actual jazz musicians into a hip-hop recording session. Ray Bryant Jr. on saxophone, Earl McIntyre on trumpet, laying down live solos over drum machine breaks. Recorded at Calliope Studios, the same spot where De La Soul would later create 3 Feet High and Rising. The irony, jazz legends like Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis were already using drum machines and synthesizers, but when hip-hop did it, suddenly it wasn't real music. The lyrics addressed this directly. Tell the truth, James Brown was old, till Eric and Rack came out with I Got Soul. They were explaining that hip-hop was the next evolution of black music, not its destruction. The track used the Oberheim DMX drum machine, same one Run DMC used on Sucker MCs, but layered it with live percussion. KRS-One later cited this as inspiration for Boogie Down Productions' musical expansion. Within a year, jazz rap became a legitimate subgenre. Gang Starr, A Tribe Called Quest, Pete Rock, they all built on the foundation Stetsasonic laid with this track. Number 7. A Tribe Called Quest. Can I Kick It? 1990. Now here's the thing about this classic. It almost didn't happen because of one sample. Lou Reed owned the rights to Walk on the Wild Side, and he reportedly wasn't giving clearances to anyone. But Q-Tip and Ali Shaheed Muhammad were so respectful in their approach, so genuine about honoring the original, that Lou said yes. The result? A track that reportedly climbed to number 15 on the Hot Rap Singles chart and became Tribe's signature song. Produced by Q-Tip and Ali Shaheed Muhammad at Calliope Studios and Battery Studios in New York. Can I Kick It took that iconic bass line from Lou Reed and flipped it into a laid-back masterpiece. The drums came from Dr. John's I Walk on Gilded Splinters, the flute from Lonnie Liston Smith. But here's the genius. They didn't just loop it. Q-Tip used the bass line as the foundation, then built an entirely new composition around it. The track had approximately 5 different samples woven together so seamlessly that it sounded like a live band. The lyrics were conscious without being preachy. Q-Tip was questioning the music industry, questioning commercialism, questioning what it meant to be an artist. Can I Kick It? Yes You Can became a call and response that united crowds. The music video showed Tribe walking through New York in regular clothes, no jewelry, no cars, no materialism. Just 4 guys who loved hip-hop. And that simplicity was the point. In an era of excess, Tribe showed you could be cool without stunting. The track appeared on People's Instinctive Travels in the Paths of Rhythm, an album that reportedly went gold, selling over 500,000 copies. When Kanye West talks about feel-good hip-hop, when Anderson .Paak creates smooth grooves, they're following the template Tribe created with Can I Kick It? Digable Planets, Rebirth of Slick Cool Like Day. 1992. Yo, imagine 3 jazz-obsessed kids from Brooklyn, Butterfly, Doodlebug and Ladybug Mecca walking into a studio with vintage Art Blakey records and creating the smoothest track hip-hop had ever heard. Rebirth of Slick sampled Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers' Stretching and reportedly hit number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it one of the highest charting conscious hip-hop tracks ever. It won the Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group in 1994. Produced by Butterfly at Platinum Island Studios in New York, this track redefined what jazz rap could be. The production was minimalist, just that hypnotic bass line, crisp drums, and the trio's interlocking verses. Here's what made it special. Butterfly used an Akai MPC-60 sampler to chop Art Blakey's drums so they felt live, then added bass from Shuggy Otis. The result sounded like a jam session, not a rap song. The lyrics were deliberately obscure, filled with bebop references and Afrocentric imagery. "We're just cool like dat" became a mantra for the alternative hip-hop movement. But this wasn't just style. Digable Planets were making political statements about black identity, feminism, and consciousness through jazz metaphors. Ladybug Mecca was among the first female MCs to gain mainstream success in the jazz rap lane. The track reportedly sold over 500,000 copies, earning gold certification. The music video showed them in a dimly lit jazz club, dressed like beatniks, performing to a nodding crowd. This was hip-hop for the coffee shop generation, proving rap didn't need to be aggressive to be powerful. Common, Talib Kweli, and the entire Soulquarian movement built on this foundation. Number 5. De La Soul, I Know. 1989. Picture this. Prince Paul is in Calliope Studios with 3 Long Island kids wearing Dayglow everything, and they want to make a love song. Not a player anthem, not a smooth talk track, a genuine vulnerable love song in the middle of hip-hop's golden era. And radio played it. I Know sampled Steely Dan's Peg, and Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay, creating this dreamy soundscape that reportedly climbed to number 29 on the Billboard rap chart. But here's the expensive part. Steely Dan's Donald Fagen reportedly charged Tommy Boy Records approximately $50,000 for the Peg sample clearance. That was more than most independent albums cost to make. Label executives were nervous, but Prince Paul convinced them it was worth it. And he was right. The production layered approximately 5 different samples: Steely Dan horns, Otis Redding soul, funkadelic drums, Tower of Power bass, into a collage that sounded like summer romance. Paz Dunos's lyrics were refreshingly honest. I know I can't afford to buy you diamond rings, but that don't mean you can't be with me. This was hip-hop embracing emotional vulnerability, admitting insecurity, celebrating real relationships over fantasy. The music video featured psychedelic animation, and the crew in their signature Daisy Age aesthetic. The track helped 3 Feet High and Rising reportedly sell over 500,000 copies, earning gold certification. When Common made The Light, when Kanye made slow jams, when any rapper made a genuine love song, they were following the path I Know created. This proved hip-hop MCs could be romantic without losing credibility. Number 4. Gangstar, Jazz Thing, 1990. DJ Premier and Guru created the definitive statement on hip-hop's connection to jazz, and they did it for Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues soundtrack. Recorded at D&D Studios in New York, the legendary spot where Nas would later track Illmatic. Jazz Thing reportedly didn't chart traditionally but became required listening for anyone claiming to understand hip-hop's roots. Premier used the Akai S950 sampler to chop horn sections from approximately 8 different jazz records. Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Miles Davis.
Astonished, he didn't just sample them, he created a historical narrative through sound. The production moved chronologically through jazz eras from bebop to hard bop to free jazz, showing how each innovation mirrored hip-hop's evolution. Guru's monotone flow was perfect for the subject matter. He wasn't performing, he was teaching. The lyrics traced hip-hop's lineage. Jazz and hip-hop are one, same music, same expression. He named Thelonious Monk, Duke Ellington, Count Basie as the spiritual ancestors of Grandmaster Flash and Afrika Bambaataa. Spike Lee gave them complete creative freedom, so Premier just went digging through Blue Note Records' entire catalog. The track appeared on Step in the Arena album in 1991 and helped establish Gang Starr's signature sound, dark, jazz-influenced, intellectually rigorous. This wasn't jazz rap for the coffee shop, this was jazz rap for the scholar. Premier's production influenced every single J Dilla beat, every Madlib loop, every producer who understood sampling as an art form. When hip-hop studies became an academic discipline, Jazz Thing was on the syllabus. When universities taught hip-hop history, this was the audio textbook. Guru later said Spike Lee told him, "You're documenting our culture, make it count." And they did. Yo, we're just getting warmed up with these jazz rap and conscious hip-hop legends. If you're feeling this deep dive into the culture that changed hip-hop from party music to art form, hit that subscribe button for Hip Hop Legends Archives. We keep the real hip-hop history alive every week, fact-checked and verified with love for the culture. Coming up next, we got A Tribe Called Quest's smoothest bass line, Souls of Mischief's Eternal Summer Anthem, and the Pete Rock production that made Nas a legend. Let's keep going. Number 3, A Tribe Called Quest, Bonita Applebum, 1990. Q-Tip's first single, and it was about appreciating a woman's natural beauty in an era when hip-hop videos were all about bikinis and champagne. Bonita Applebum sampled RONCO's Magic Wand and DAVE Pike's Why Can't I Stop, creating this mellow, hypnotic groove that reportedly peaked at number 66 on the Hot R&B/hip-hop chart. Produced by Q-Tip and Ali Shaheed Muhammad at Battery Studios, this track showcased Tribe's ability to make conscious content feel effortless. The bass line sampled from RONCO was so simple but so addictive that it became one of the most recognizable in hip-hop history. Q-Tip's drums, chopped from the Jaggers' What a Bummer, had that lazy swing that made you bob your head involuntarily. But the real innovation was the lyrics. Q-Tip wasn't objectifying Bonita Applebum, he was genuinely admiring her. "Hey Bonita, glad to meet ya" became one of the smoothest pickup lines in hip-hop. The second verse addressed critics who said Tribe wasn't hard enough. "You see, I'm not your average MC with the Joe Schmo flow." They were defending their lane, proving consciousness could be cool. The music video showed Q-Tip in everyday settings, no mansion, no luxury cars, just genuine appreciation for a woman's beauty and personality. The track appeared on People's Instinctive Travels and the Paths of Rhythm, which reportedly went gold. When Drake talks about making vibe music, when J. Cole creates introspective love songs, they're walking the path Tribe paved with Bonita Applebum. This wasn't player talk, this was poet talk. Number 2, Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity. 1993. 4 teenagers from Oakland, A+, Opio, Forsto, and T.R.O.Y, created the most timeless summer anthem in hip-hop history. 93 Till Infinity reportedly peaked at number 72 on the Billboard Hot 100, but its influence far exceeded its chart position. Produced by A+, using a Roland MV8000 sampler, the track sampled Billy Cobham's Heather and turned jazz fusion into eternal youth. The production was deceptively simple, just that hypnotic piano loop, minimal drums, and 4 MCs trading verses like they were sitting on a porch in summer. Recorded at Hyde Street Studios in San Francisco, the track captured the feeling of being young, talented, and unstoppable. The lyrics weren't about violence or materialism, they were about being so good at rapping that nothing else mattered. "This is how we chill from 93 till" became a mantra for artistic purity. Here's the magic. Each MC had a distinct style, but they flowed together seamlessly. A+ with the smoothest delivery, Opio with the complex rhyme schemes, Festo with the rapid-fire flow, T.R.O.Y with the philosophical bent. Together they created a cipher on wax. The music video showed them skateboarding through Oakland in baggy clothes, just being kids. No posturing, no pretending to be gangsters, just 4 friends who loved hip-hop. The track appeared on the album of the same name, which reportedly sold approximately 250,000 copies. When J. Cole samples this, when Mac Miller references it, when any rapper talks about real hip-hop, they're thinking about 93 Till Infinity. This track proved regional scenes outside New York and Los Angeles could create classics. The Bay Area had arrived, and hieroglyphics led the charge. Number 1. Nas Malls, The World Is Yours, 1994. Now technically this is the early 90s, but it's the perfect culmination of everything the late 80s jazz rap movement created. Pete Rock and Nas teamed up at Battery Studios in New York, and created what many consider the greatest hip-hop song ever recorded. The World Is Yours sampled Ahmad Jamal's I Love Music. music, and reportedly peaked at number 13 on the Hot Rap Singles chart, but became the centerpiece of Illmatic, an album that changed hip-hop forever. Pete Rock's production was masterful. That piano loop from Ahmad Jamal, those crisp drums, the subtle scratches of T.R.O.Y's It's Yours on the hook. He used an EMU SP1200 to create a sound that was simultaneously nostalgic and futuristic. But Nas's verses were what made it legendary. At 20 years old, he was painting pictures of Queensbridge projects with the precision of a poet laureate. I sipped the Dom P, watching Gandhi till I'm charged, then writing in my book of rhymes, all the words past the margin. This wasn't gangster rap, this wasn't party rap, this was literature set to drums. Nas was influenced by Rakim's complexity, KRS-One's consciousness, and Kool G Rap's street narratives, but he synthesized them into something entirely new. He was talking about money, but also legacy, also mortality, also the contradictions of poverty and ambition. Illmatic reportedly debuted at number 12 on the Billboard 200, and went on to achieve platinum certification, selling over 1 million copies. But its influence was immeasurable. Every conscious rapper, every lyricist, every MC who valued words over beats, studied The World Is Yours. Jay-Z called it the most important hip-hop album ever made. Eminem memorized every verse. Kendrick Lamar said it taught him how to construct a narrative. This track represents everything jazz rap and conscious hip-hop achieved. Musical sophistication, lyrical depth, emotional honesty, cultural relevance. Pete Rock's production honored jazz while pushing it forward. Nas's rhymes honored hip-hop's pioneers while expanding what MCs could say. When people ask what the greatest hip-hop song ever made is, The World Is Yours is always in the conversation. And it all connects back to that late 80s movement. Stetsasonic defending sampling, De La Soul proving vulnerability with strength, Gang Starr connecting hip-hop to jazz history. Nas and Pete Rock stood on those shoulders and touched the sky. That's the real history from Hip Hop Legends archives. From Stetsasonic defending hip-hop's right to be musical in 1988, to Nas creating poetry over Pete Rock's jazz fusion masterpiece in 1994, this era transformed hip-hop from street music into high art. These 10 tracks proved MCs could be conscious without being preachy, that samples could be compositions, that hip-hop belonged in museums and universities alongside any art form in history. If you lived through this era or just discovered how deep the culture goes, drop a like and subscribe to Hip Hop Legends Archives. Tell us in the comments which track changed your life, or which jazz sample blew your mind. We fact-check everything because the pioneers who created this music deserve accurate history. Their legacy is our responsibility to preserve. From the Native Tongues movement to the Golden Era, from Calliope Studios to D&D Studios, from the streets of Queens to the jazz clubs of Brooklyn, this was the moment hip-hop found its soul. Until next time, peace, love, unity, and hip-hop. This is Hip Hop Legends Archives, keeping the culture alive.